Hey there, it's been almost over a year since I last did a video on what games I have, and since then I've obviously picked up a lot of games, and I've gone through a lot of games that have been pretty enjoyable. So first off, I'm going to start this off with some games that I just picked up this past weekend. I went to Chicago to see my sister, and we went to two places. Both have their big points is that they have old Nintendo, Super Nintendo, as well as Atari 2600, all the Sega games, or all the Sega system games going all the way back. The first one, the name of which I forget, was kind of a bust. My sister picked up a bunch of games, and I purchased Final Fantasy Mystic Quest for her, because I kind of wanted her to try an RPG, and according to someone whose name I'm forgetting at the moment, Happy Video Game Nerd, I believe. He said that that's a great beginner's RPG, so I figured that would be a good one for her. But the second place we stopped at was a shop called People Play Games, and there I picked up a couple Super Nintendo games. First of all, just to give you a review, the store is just amazing. They've got Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64 games, I think original Nintendo, a bunch of Atari games, all in their original packages with game manuals and everything. They've also got a collection of game manuals, just loose, that you can purchase. Their new video game selection is pretty sparse, and I think, it's been a couple days, but I think I'd even go so far as to say new meaning PlayStation 2. Their original PlayStation collection was pretty good. I saw a couple that I could have been tempted to buy, but I'm not going to do that. And I think they also had Earthbound for $150. I think it was just loose. I don't think... well, obviously the manual for that is the strategy guide, so I think it was just a loose game, but... yeah, so I picked up 4 items. The first thing that I picked up was a game guide for Radiata Stories, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is a game that I forget when it came out, but it was one of those games where people were saying Square has dropped the ball. They've forgotten what's fun, because this game was a big disappointment for a lot of people, and it was a disappointment for me as well. I figure I got the guide. I think I paid $5 for it, so perhaps this will give me enough inspiration to go out, pick up the game again, and try to finish it. And then I picked up 3 Super Nintendo games. I picked up Arachnoid Do It Again. I have fond memories of these games from way back when, so at $3, it was worth the price. A game that I rented way back in the day, didn't get very far in, Illusion of Gaia, and that was only $10. And these were just, all 3 of these were just loose. They didn't come with a manual or anything, and they didn't have the manuals in stock, but at this day and age, I think that's okay. And the third game I picked up was Secret of Evermore, which was $14. And this one I played via emulators, just a little bit, but for $14, I figured it was worth a try just to give it a go. I really like Secret Mana. I beat the heck out of that. I think if my Super Nintendo battery is still good, that I've got a 100% complete save game on that, so definitely some good purchases. I definitely go back again to just, they've got just a ton of Super Nintendo games, and it's not, crappy. I think this is actually the place where when we went in, they were cleaning up a bunch of stock, so they were actually going through and, wiping them down, making them as clean as possible. So if you're around Chicago, Illinois, and you haven't been to People Play Games, I highly recommend it. So And if you know any places in Chicago that have a good selection of video games, new or old, definitely let me know. I end up going there, a couple times a year, so that would be great. Currently, right now, I am playing a game that I just picked up, which is Overlord for the Xbox 360, which is surprisingly very good. I think I've seen a couple people that I'm friends with or was friends with at some point playing this one or the second one. And so when I saw this for $14, I pulled up Amazon, checked reviews. Reviews were pretty good of it, and so far I've had a blast. Some people have said it's kind of like Dungeon Keeper, or that's how they initially thought of it, but it's really just you're playing as a guy. Oops, over here. You're playing as a guy, and then you've got 4 different types of minions that you can control. Browns are your fighters, basically. Your reds are fire, so they can deal with fire, and they throw fire. Poison and water are ones that I just picked up this morning. So the water ones can go through water, and they can heal, and then the poison can walk through poison, and they're the assassins, so they can backstab and all that fun stuff. So that's one of the games that I'm playing right now for the 360. The other one is Fist of the North Star, Ken's Rage. I got this on the PlayStation 3 originally for pretty cheap. I think it might have been free, actually, maybe, with a GameStop deal. Had a lot of fun with that. Platinumed it. I think it's in this collection over here, too, or not. It's kind of like Dynasty Warriors. It's M, though. I think the Dynasty Warriors are T, because depending on how you finish attacking enemies, they could either just fall down and die, or they can explode in a rush of blood. Well, that sounds a little... They explode. But definitely, it's not that difficult, and it's a lot of fun. You've got 9 characters, I think, that you can go through. Pretty enjoyable. Along those same lines, I'm going to screw this up. Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes. Classic Game Room did a review of this. Again, it's kind of like a Dynasty Warriors type game. You've got a whole bunch more characters that you can go through. It's not as quick as Fist of the North Star. Fist of the North Star is a little too slow too. But this one seems much slower. But it's still really cool, and you kind of get a different perspective on each of the characters through this. There's one other character that I need to unlock and do their story with, but in order to do that, I think you have to unlock all the allies that you can take into battle with you, so that's going to take a really long time, but this is another one that's definitely a lot of fun, and I've been having an enjoyable time with. Back over to here. Ninja Gaiden 2, I've been slowly going through on the 360. It's a lot of fun. It's also very punishing, but I've had just an absolute blast with this. Just amazing combat. And that's actually why I ended up picking up, and I don't have it in my pile, but Ninja Gaiden Sigma for the PlayStation 3. I also picked up a game the other day, Ninja Blade, which kind of seems like it would be almost the same thing. It was pretty cheap, and people's reviews were mixed on it, but they said that it's a very good action game. You'll play it and you'll be done with it, but it just seems pretty enjoyable. So I figured $10, it was worth it. When I was there, I also picked up a PlayStation 2 game, which I haven't picked up a PlayStation 2 game in a while. New PlayStation 2 game in a while, and that is Eve of Extinction. I picked this up because it was $5, and it was by Enix, I believe. Enix. Or maybe I'm imagining that? Oh, no, Eidos. Eidos did it. So I figured it couldn't be that bad. Based on the back and the manual, I kind of got the idea that it was kind of like the Bouncer, which I don't know that I've talked about, but I picked up the Bouncer a while ago for the PlayStation 2, and that was pretty fun. So I don't know. I'm not expecting much for $5, but I figure it was worth a try. Some of the games that I've started and I haven't finished for various reasons. We'll do the collections first. Metal Gear Solid. I started through the second one, since Sons of Liberty. I haven't played any of these. Metal Gear Solid 4 was my first real experience with the series, so it's been slow going, and that's kind of why I put it down, because I've just got so many other games that I wanted to play instead. And the Ico Shadow of the Colossus collection was another one that I picked up. I have Shadow for the PlayStation 2. I think I only got through 3 or 4 of the Colossi. This one I got a little further. I think the last one that I beat was the flying bird hawk type thing. Again, it's been a while since I've played either of these. But they're both really good. I'm looking forward to dropping what I'm playing and picking these two up again. Another game that I got, Deus Ex. I was on the fence about this one, but then it was pretty cheap, pre-owned. I think like $30. And I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to play it because I get motion sick with first-person games, especially with this where when you go into cover, it bounces you back. But I put in, I don't know, 2 hours, 3 hours, and didn't feel nauseous, so this is one that I'm going to keep going through instead of trading in as soon as I find some time. I did a pile, and I'm not going to do most of these. We'll wait on that. Saints Row the Third. So I haven't played any of the Saints Row games before, and based on the advertisements, I wasn't sure that this was my kind of game. I'm not a big bathroom humor kind of person, but the Saints Row the Third was an amazing game, just absolutely amazing. It's over the top, yes, but I still had a whole heck of a lot of fun with this, and I definitely like to go through it with somebody in co-op at some point. Just because, I don't know, Rooster Teeth, Michael and Jeff, I think, have been going through this, or were going through this. They put in a lot of time just going through in co-op, having fun, screwing with each other, and then at the point I picked this up, it was only $40, and I got a copy of Saints Row 2, an electronic copy, for free. So I figured at that point it was $20 a game, and one of them was new. It was worth a try, and this was definitely a surprise hit for me. Gears of War 3 I picked up a while ago. Finished it. I still have to go through and play some more Horde, Beast Mode, much more co-op. It's kind of fallen on the side, though. It's just, I mean, it's a really good game. The end boss was significantly better than Gears of War 2, but I don't know. It doesn't have the same appeal to me. But it was still a good game. I thought the story was pretty good too, for what happens. One that I've had for a while again, and I kept finding this at places, but I would never have the game manual. And with the exception of, Super Nintendo games, I really like to have the manual for games. So I kept holding off, and finally there was a copy that had the game manual. It didn't have the poster, but who cares? And that is Bullet Witch. And the reason that I wanted to pick this up is because it was by Cavia. And Cavia was Drakengard 2. I don't remember if it was the first one. I think it was, though. So when I saw that Bullet Witch was one of the games in their library of games that they had something to deal with, I definitely wanted to pick it up. So, yeah, it came with a copy. Great game. I have to go through on the additional difficulties. I started, and I think I got through the first or second chapter. It's got a fairly good story. Combat's pretty fun. And yeah, this is, it was a surprise. And at $5, it was well worth it. Because I put, 12 hours into it so far. So that's a pretty good return on investment. I think I might have talked about this at one point, but I can't remember. And since I picked it up for both systems because I had so much fun with it, Bayonetta. Originally I had it on the 360, and I still do. I have it lent out to a friend, because the quality on the 360 was supposed to be substantially better. And having played both versions, I can say that the 360 version is much better, handles better, looks better, but this is still an amazing game. It's not as hard as Devil May Cry. I've only played the third one. I picked up the fourth one cheap, but I haven't started it yet. It's got a pretty good story too, but yeah, this was definitely an enjoyable game, and I'm definitely looking forward to see what they do with Revengeance when that finally comes out. Enslaved, Odyssey to the West. I played Heavenly Sword. Heavenly Sword was, I think, the second or third game I picked up for the PlayStation 3. Just amazing. Combat was a little weird, but I really liked the art direction that they did on it, and this one is very similar for direction. So the female of this game sort of looks like the one in Heavenly Sword, and having kept an eye on the price of Heavenly Sword, it's amazing how well that has kept its price point over the years. I mean, that game should be $10 or less, and there's still places that sell it for $40, even $50. So this one, it didn't get very good reviews, but I actually had a blast with this. Yeah, and it's got good story. It was well worth whatever I paid for it. And if you like Heavenly Sword and haven't picked this up, I definitely recommend giving this one a try. At this point, I'm going to stop the video and do a part 2 because the rest of the games that are in this pile, I think I'll go on about for a pretty long time for most of them. So I will stop this and look forward to part 2 shortly.